I'm really curious because you bring up so many good points there, Jamey. Scott, from your vantage point and your perspective with this evolving, changing, however you want to say it, industry, from a tools, from a legal, like all those good points that Jamey just brought up. How do you take these tools and these changes and lead your team through yet another changing environment to make sure that you come out successful on the other side like you have in the past?
Well, I think first of all, COVID gave everybody that false sense of security that companies that were marginal were good, and they were really marginal and horrible. So I think that what's happening now is if you go back and look at numbers, lead costs and leads are similar to what they were prior to COVID. Where I disagree a little bit with you is I think that the business model relative to the expectation that you can expect lead costs to come down is a faulty way of thinking. I think you have to assume lead costs are going to go up, and you have to increase your prices to reflect that perspective. Um, in terms of aggregators, I think that for us, we're getting away from aggregators, not only because of the TCPA rules and requirements that may or may not come, because nobody really knows, but our belief is that when you look at the aggregator business, if your business is based on lead aggregation in terms of generating leads, they're having a hard time generating leads currently because leads are tighter, and the quality of those leads are really bad. And so in our case, when you look at the capital required to buy the leads, call the leads, how many actually set versus how many you get, and ultimately how many cancel before you issue and run the lead, those numbers and the degradation of those leads are horrible and probably as expensive as a branded lead, if not a little bit more expensive, with a lower quality result. So I think you have to re-engineer it. I think the value proposition for companies like Jamey's are that you can do referrals, get more referrals with total transparency. So before it was like, oh yeah, we referred so and so to you as a customer. You're like, oh yeah, you did, and you go through, maybe you have a record, maybe you don't, you spend the money, maybe you're not. You're creating an adversarial relationship. With Jamey's program, you're creating a situation where you're creating a fan, a raving fan, and you're doing it with total transparency so that they can track the information that the referrals that they're getting, encourage that consumer to buy. So that will increase your referrals, and I think we're doing a pretty good job representing this program and the effect of it. But overall, I think when you look at the marketplace, I hear Jamey say, "Well, I've got 10 bankruptcy notices." Candidly, I'm surprised there's only 10. I think it's going to get way worse. I think it's going to get way worse because when you look at the business model of 95% of the companies out there, they take a 50% deposit and then they have a 40% gross margin. Well, that means that every job on their book, in terms of what their backlog is a 10% loss. So all of a sudden, if jobs aren't coming in, they don't get the 50% deposit, and then they don't have the capital to withstand the 10% loss because they went on and bought a boat or a Rolex or a second house because they thought COVID was going to continue forever. So I think that the challenge that we all face is you have to be prepared to break everything that you've done in the past and reevaluate lead sources, processes, procedures, staffing, management, and you got to stay nimble. And if you can do that, we can't control certain events. We can't control Israel. We can't control Ukraine. We can't control the election coming up. But I can tell you one thing, leads are getting more expensive. And they're getting more expensive because there's less of them. There's less consumers in the market, which means lead costs are going up. And all you have to do to make yourself feel better is look at Home Depot and Lowe's, their reports in the last 2 weeks. Hey, consumer demand is down. Customers are doing less big projects because they're unsure of the economy. And you can extrapolate that information into your business. But leads, the one thing I would say is, in reference to what Jamey said, the guy who controls the leads or the company who controls the leads will be the company that makes the most money. But you have to, but to assume that that's going to align with a lower cost of the lead is in my mind, naive. And you must adjust your prices to expect a higher lead cost coming in for the foreseeable future.
So on the back of that, and I'm with you on everything there. The part I would challenge is if a company were to increase their referral leads from, let's say, 10 a month to, let's say, 100 a month, the cost of that lead with every referral is able to divide your overall, customer acquisition cost at the end of the day, because you're not adding any dollars to that referral. Obviously, we all know that's how referrals work. So,
I
I'm
think that's a great analogy, but here's where I think it's a little bit questionable, and Jamey can give greater credit because he probably has way more information than I do. You have to assume when you're getting, if let's say you get 10 leads and you have GTR as an app, you can't make the assumption that all 10 people are going to download that onto the phone. You would like to assume they would, but chances are not all 10 are going to do it. And then conversely, in our experience with GTR, which is we get 7 out of 10, which is amazing. You also, if you talk to people, and I think Greg, you and I were talking at Yoho about it. If you ask somebody, so many companies are out there like, 20 years ago, we gave $100 for referral. What are you giving now? We're giving
yeah.
$100 now. Well, $100 now, nobody's doing anything for $100. Like, let's all be honest. I'm certainly not referring a home improvement company for $100. So I think you have to build a program. Jamey's program offers you the skeleton. It's up to you to then recreate that, improve that referral program to make people want to be a raving fan. You have to provide better service. You have to provide a reason why somebody should refer you. You should reward those people accordingly. And then all of a sudden the dynamic changes. But just to implement anything, and I'm not saying this about GTR, just in general, and say, well, we're going to keep doing the same thing, and we're not going to invest the same energy into making this program better, even though we have the skeleton of GTR. We're not going to make our process or procedures better to get those 100 referrals. You're never going to get more than the 10 you had before. And that's where I think so many of these companies that I speak to are like, oh, they think this business is built in a box. It's like, let me give you the secret. There is no secret.